Welcome to SRG Insights, where we answer your questions about sales, sales management, and sales training. And today's question is,
Gerardo Dada asks, what is the best way to follow up with closed lost opportunities?
well, thanks for that question. And actually, it's a really interesting one because I think just by asking that question is the first step, is that we should do something when we lose. Oftentimes, we're frustrated, we're a little disappointed, we're moving on to the next deal, and we forget that there's incredible lessons that we can learn by going back to that customer and engaging with them and seeing what we can take away from that opportunity that we invested in that didn't work out the way we wanted. So I think the first step is really to get in front of them or get them on the phone and have that debrief, have that discussion. We don't want to argue. We don't want to try to reposition or resell. They've made their decision. But we want to ask the simple question, can you help us understand what your key decision factors were? And was there anything we could have done better or differently in this situation to improve our chances of winning the deal? I think that's one, very insightful and helps us gain information about how we can improve, and also tells the customer that we're sincere, we were really interested in helping our organization improve, and that we're not going to try to disparage the competition or argue with their decision, but we're trying to get better for next time. The second thing I think we really need to do is to look at the loss reason. And we need to here be very honest with ourselves and take a look and say, then based on the customer's input, why didn't this opportunity move forward? Perhaps we didn't qualify it initially well enough. In other words, we shouldn't have been chasing this deal to begin with. It wasn't a good fit for us. We didn't have the right level of relationships and weren't able to build them. Or it really just wasn't a good opportunity for us to pursue. But let's say that it was, we really need to then think, was it because our solution wasn't a good fit? We weren't able to engage at the right level and get to those key decision makers? Or perhaps, again, we priced ourselves out of the market and we really didn't understand what they were looking for, or we didn't understand the problem they were trying to solve. You know, I heard an interesting statistic the other day that said that we spend 50% more time on deals that we lose than on those that we win. And I thought that was a really interesting statistic that, you know, it takes longer to lose a deal than to move forward with those that win. So, you know, that may help enlighten us in terms of the types of deals that we go after and focusing on deals that are more well qualified. So I think it's really important for us to think about that loss reason, think about that for future opportunities. What can we do to improve? The final piece that I think is critically important is to continue to treat that prospect as if it's a customer. So we've spent time investing in the relationship, learning about their organization, understanding what's important to them and what their problems are. Well, let's continue to use that. Let's go back to them and add value. Maybe we can offer them some additional advice, some insights, a white paper, invite them to a webinar or some other value-added service that we have to continue to engage. Somewhere along the line, we then may want to follow up 2 or 3 months out and say, hey, how's that project going? I'm really curious to hear how it's working out for you. Are there any gaps in the current solution you have? And would you entertain an opportunity to get together and talk about some of the other services we offer or some other ideas we had about how we can help your organization? Again, we're starting to build a longer-term relationship. We already have that investment. They know who we are. Let's see if we can't use that for a future opportunity. And I'll close with one story. One of the largest accounts that I had the opportunity to open up actually resulted from a loss. And it turned out the first opportunity we pursued, which was an RFP, and we didn't know much about the organization, and we weren't well positioned. It wasn't a great fit, but at the time we went after it. We lost that deal, but in the debrief, the client said, you know, we really do want to do business with you, just not on this opportunity. And over 3 years, it became the largest account that we had. So I think we really need to think about going back to the client, asking those questions, seeing why we lost and what we can do better in the future, and then continue to maintain that relationship over time. Thank you.